gentlemen, boys and girls, step right this way. Tonight, in the big tent, you will see a spectacle never before witnessed by modern man. Tonight, the star attractions are locked in their cages. For tonight, the downtrodden of the new masters.
The deputies by shackles the ground, roll up and down the big staircase, a secret panel to another place. I saw a guy wearing a hockey mask, and he's carrying a bloody ass. He chases me on down the hall, and blood was dripping from the wall.
I don't need you to live with a psycho. Every week since your arrival, I don't need no Jekyll and Hyde girl. I don't need you to live with a psycho.
Hey, this is Bill Mosley, and you're watching the Chuckles and Laughs Show.
Back to the Chuckles and Laugh Show, and before I was rudely interrupted about something about talking about men, we're going to bring out the special guest today, Mr. H.P. Lovecraft.
High five! High five! Yeah!
Welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show.
First time I've been on the Chuckles and Laughs show.
Probably the last.
Depends on how the interview goes. Yes?
No, I brought back Prince of Darkness. Oh, hey, if you bring back him and John Almeida, you have a good shot.
Where's your camera? Right out there.
Yeah, that's the camera right
I
there.
want to know where the camera is.
Mr. H.P. Lovecraft, or should we say you played H.P. Lovecraft, right?
I have played H.P. Lovecraft, portrayed the role of Howard Phillips Lovecraft in the play by Brett Rutherford titled Night Gaunts. And I could take credit for playing H.P. Lovecraft today, because that was my identical twin brother, Keith. Did a stint as H.P. Lovecraft.
Let's hear for Keith Johnson doing H.P.
Keith Johnson!
That is the best thing I've ever heard. Every time I act like an ass, it is my twin brother who looks exactly like me.
Except for I don't
That
look
wasn't
anything
me
like
with
you.
that other lady. That was my twin brother.
Did you hear that?
It's got to be some advantage to having a twin.
I am running with that.
So
When I
what-
get home tonight,
what
Just happy we're
inspired
not
you
conjoined.
to be so enthused of H.P. Lovecraft? I mean, the man is a great writer.
Yes, well, I had read a short story by H.P. Lovecraft. Actually, all of his stories are novellas or short stories. But I read one titled The Rats in the Walls. I was enthralled with that. And then I read The Dunwich Horror by H.P. Lovecraft. And still to date, my favorite H.P. Lovecraft story, The Color Out of Space. And it was way back in 1987. I think I was 4 years old at the time. And I realized that the 50th anniversary of H.P. Lovecraft's passing was coming up on March 15th that year. And as far as I knew, there was no tribute, no honorarium given to H.P. Lovecraft in the very city where he was born, lived most of his life, and did most of his writings. So I decided to undertake to present a tribute service to H.P. Lovecraft. And rather than having it be a dry literary tribute at a library from behind a podium, I decided to hold this literary tribute to H.P. Lovecraft in Swan Point Cemetery, where the author is interred. And to publicize this event, I wrote an article about H.P. Lovecraft, his time in Providence, and his writing career. And I had to research H.P. Lovecraft, and I became fascinated with Lovecraft as a personage, even more than his writings. And in my research, I found out that my brother Keith and I are distantly but definitely related to H.P. Lovecraft. I don't think there's any family resemblance, but we do have a common progenitor back there.
Well, maybe not have the family resemblance, but you definitely had the mind resemblance, because he was deeply into the paranormal, and you and your brother
Yes,
are
as are
deeply
we.
into the
Oh,
paranormal.
yes. Yes. And I like those strobe lights there. They're very mood evocative. I had 2 seizures back there while I was waiting to come on, though.
You're not the only one.
Nobody moved to help me because they thought I was just laughing to myself.
Well, you are in an insane asylum, so yes, she
It is.
Nobody's gonna help you.
So let me get this straight. You're related,
I am related to
but
Lovecraft.
I recall, you know, not to step on your historian toes there, Chuckles, but I recall that H.P. Lovecraft didn't have any children. Is that true?
That's true. He did not have any children. He was married for 3 years, lived with his wife in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, for 2 years, but they did not produce offspring from their union. But on H.P. Lovecraft's mother's side, we are related through the Place lineage. Roby Place was H.P. Lovecraft's maternal grandmother. And anyway, we're both directly descended from Roger Williams, so we have that lineage. And through the Places, H.P. Lovecraft's maternal grandparents, we are related. So it's not that remote.
So let me get this straight. You said that H.P. Lovecraft and Roger Williams are related?
Yes, they are related. In fact, we had the annual service of tribute to H.P. Lovecraft. We still do that and have a good attendance for that. We hold it now at Ladd Observatory on the east side of Providence. We used to hold the tribute service in Swan Point Cemetery at the author's gravesite. However, Swan Point's policy is not to allow photographing in cemetery grounds. They say it's an issue of privacy, don't like people taking pictures of the headstones. So we've relocated the tribute setting to Ladd Observatory, and then afterwards we go over to pay our respects in Swan Point Cemetery.
Oh, hi.
Can you say hi?
Hello. Hi.
My name is Carl L. Johnson, and I organized the annual H.P. Lovecraft Tribute, which is an unorthodox literary tribute, recognizing the literary contributions of horror fiction writer from Providence, Rhode Island, H.P. Lovecraft. We have been doing the tribute service here at Ladd Observatory since 2006. It's an appropriate spot because this is where H.P. Lovecraft would bicycle up from the side of Providence, Wayland Square, and come over here to observe the movements of the moon, the stars, the planets. And it's one of 2 spots on the east side of Providence where folks feel that the shade of H.P. Lovecraft may remain. Some evidence for that. People have reported feeling and experiencing his presence here. Welcome. Draw near as shadows lengthen at the hour of 3. My name is Carl Johnson. Spring has arrived, and Lovecraft's in the air.
You, the whisper in the darkness. Madness like a jealous brother struck your father, then your mother. Solitude came at your cost. Love you found,
Out of what crypt they crawl, I cannot tell, but every night I see the rubbery things, black, horned, and slender, with membrous wings, and tails that bear the fitfit barb of hell. They come in legions on the north wind swell, with obscene clutch.
A clean sweep, a neighbor's knock, a letter, something there is in the attic that drives it and sets its course. This house is Ahab's ship, Usher's man's, Lovecraft's infirmary, a witch house, feast hall, love nest, and chapel, sanctum of solitude, the Capulet's tomb.
In a squalid thieves' den, an entire family had been torn to shreds by an unknown thing which left no trace. And those around had heard all night a faint, deep, insistent note, as of a gigantic...
Splendors await me down below, and I shall seek them soon. No, I shall not shoot myself. I cannot be made to shoot myself.
Doom had come to Sarn. But half buried in the rushes was spied a curious green idol, an exceedingly ancient idol chiseled in the likeness of Bakrug, the great water lizard. That idol, enshrined in the high temple at Alarnuk, was subsequently worshipped beneath the gibbous moon throughout the land of Minar.
That was a insane asylum, wasn't it? Or
Ladd Observatory is named for Joseph P. Ladd, as is the Ladd Center and Ladd School. So people set their GPSs for Lad Center. They ended up in Exeter instead of in Providence. But, yeah, that's a haunted site, as a matter of fact, speaking about hauntings.
That will get you arrested, though.
Yes, we don't advise going there and trespassing. In the early days of TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, and my brother and I were members of TAPS for 8 years. And before we had a lot of cases coming in, our training grounds were Brayton Point Cemetery in Warwick, Rhode Island. You have asylums and hauntings. Isn't this area kind of subject to paranormal activity?
It is very much so subject
Yes, it is.
to paranormal activity.
Yeah,
and
right.
this is an asylum, and none of you are getting out. Especially you that's afraid of me. Like she laughs. You need to breathe. I like that. You know, I heard that's pretty interesting that Roger Williams related to him. I also learned a little bit while reading about H.P. Lovecraft and meeting him, of course, that the gentleman was a dropout. Didn't finish his schooling.
Well, H.P. Lovecraft had such an expansive vocabulary, which is obvious from his writings, that people thought he must have been very well educated. He might have been a college professor. And even in his early teens, H.P. Lovecraft authored a column on astronomy for local papers such as the Providence Journal and the Patuxent Times. People thought it was a college professor from Brown University or Boston writing these astronomy articles. But H.P. Lovecraft never completed high school. He had a mysterious breakdown in the year 1908, and that stopped his schooling, so he never finished his last year of high school nor went on to college. But he was largely self-taught, and he was something of an offbeat child prodigy. He knew his alphabet at the age of 2 and could read quite well by the age of 4. Started writing his horror stories at age 6. Those don't remain, but there is a story that he wrote when he was 12 years old, The Beast in the Cave, and we still have that.
That sounds just like me.
The Beast in the Cave.
Well, no, I wasn't talking about that. I mean genius.
Oh, okay. I
didn't have to
understand
go to school
that.
because
Yeah,
I'm so smart. And
the prodigy part. Right?
yes, absolutely.
No, not a genius. Oh, sorry about that. Now, we read somewhere that he was influenced a lot by Greek mythology. And
Right, yes. Well,
do you think that possibly any of his characters, like Cthulhu and even the mermen, could have come from that?
I'm certain they were influenced by his early readings. You see, his grandfather Phillips, Whipple Van Buren Phillips, who, again, I'm related to, he had a library in his house, the Manse, over on Angel Street, and quite a large library with many of the classics there. And H.P. Lovecraft's earliest readings were 1001 Arabian Nights and many of the Greek and Roman mythologies. That's what H.P. Lovecraft was reared on, so I'm sure they were an influence. And you can see that in his stories. But H.P. Lovecraft also came into his own. He created his own mythology, or mythos. Like Cthulhu is an original H.P. Lovecraft creation. And the pantheon of his characters in his stories is referred to as the Cthulhu mythos. And actually, H.P. Lovecraft said it wasn't pronounced Cthulhu. That may be how it's written. With one of his correspondents who asked him how Cthulhu is pronounced, he said, well, the human glottis really can't pronounce Cthulhu because it's an alien name. The closest you can get is to make a coughing sound, and it's more like Klala. That's as close as we can get, but we know him as Cthulhu. Cthulhu made a very charming guest, by the way.
Oh, yes. And speaking about Cthulhu,
before we get to that, there's two things. First, I must be a god because every time a woman sees me, they make the same kind of reaction. So I'm a god. That makes me very happy.
They genuflect when they see you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They do something like that. And also, I just wanted to say, talking about his influences. How about his influence on everybody else? I must have seen. I'm a pretty big horror buff, and I've seen his work like repeated and repeated and repeated in film, literature,
Right.
You name it. It's out there all over.
Even now is so influenced by H.P. Lovecraft. You can see his themes running through horror fiction in movies and stories now. One author who admits that he is influenced by H.P. Lovecraft, and he's proud to say so, is Stephen King. up in Maine, Stephen King says that H.P. Lovecraft was an early influence, continues to be an influence on his writings. Another person who was influenced and actually collaborated with H.P. Lovecraft was C.M. Eddy, Clifford Martin Eddy. Did I say the wrong thing?
Yeah.
That was just that.
No, they collaborated on The Love Dead. That's a Clifford Martin story. Clifford Martin Eddy story, rather. And H.P. Lovecraft did ghost writing for Harry Houdini. He met Mr. Houdini, and they went to dinner after one of Houdini's shows. Actually, my grandmother on my mother's side was in the audience when H.P. Lovecraft, Harry Houdini performed in Providence, and H.P. Lovecraft was working there at the theater as an usher. And he fell into conversation with Harry Houdini later. Mr. Houdini learned that Howard Lovecraft was an author, so H.P. Lovecraft went on to write some stories for Harry Houdini, and they were credited to Harry Houdini.
I learn a new thing every day. I also learned that women, when they see POD, go, "Pah! Pah!" I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You know,
Sorry about that one.
You talk about C.M. Eddy and Cthulhu, like they're not here, which unfortunately for you, they are.
As I said, I'm in good company here.
Oh, you are. And I have you may not be H.P. Lovecraft, but I got a deal with these guys, and I gotta fulfill it.
Oh, what do I need to do?
Oh, don't worry about it. C.M. Eddy.
Hey,
there he is.
you're back.
Oh, talking about, I hope I didn't say anything derogatory. C.M. Eddy.
Yeah,
Eddy.
I don't want to be in the middle of this, so I'm just going to...
Not everybody's a fan of H.P.
But before I leave, I just want to touch a technical bullet. It's
Now,
flying
a deal's a deal. Now, we're going to do this my way. This is a very talented young man. You're not going to torture him.
Still a big fan, by the way. My fan! Yeah, the one and only.
Will you stop? You're giving him a big head.
You got to give him something.
Now, the deal's a deal. Here he is. We're going to do this on my grounds, though. And we're going to play a game of Fatal Trivia.
Fatal Trivia. That's a fun game.
I'm in.
You're in? You're in, Cthulhu.
What is trivia?
Good question.
It's very trivial.
Yeah. Are you in for this?
I'm in for it. I don't seem to have much choice right now.
No, you. Unfortunately for you, I got a deal. Pretty good one too. Where I get to take care of someone that I don't like if I deliver you to them.
Deliver me.
Yes, and I have done so. I have done so. Eddie, you want to take it back? It's all yours.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Well, let's hear it for the man that's about to play Fatal Trivia. Mr. Carl Johnson, who plays H.P. Lovecraft. We'll go to commercial break.
I'm bored, and I miss Chuckles.
Dummy, I don't miss him.
Well, I do. Hey, want to do something a little naughty? Not that. Not what you're thinking of. Not that. Not that. If you want to make a right phone call.
That sounds fun.
Alright, well, here, you do it. Call. Here. Alright, just call this guy. You gotta hit like one more number. Hit the like last number, I think. 7. This is gonna be so funny.
Hey, is your refrigerator running?
Really? It is good, really?
Yeah, is your refrigerator running?
But you should be.
Why?
Good job. 7. That's the last number.
Have you ever kissed a parrot?
No. Before you go to the next bit of this enjoyable phone call, look behind you, because that's your butt, and you're gonna want to kiss it goodbye.
That's so great! I didn't even know dinosaurs existed anymore! It's so much fun! One more, please!
No!
One more!
No!
Please! Please! Just one more, there. Last number is 7. But a different 7, different guy. Seriously. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Oh my god, oh wow.
It's your good little werewolf voodoo doll. Yes, you are. Oh, phone again. Hold on. Yeah.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can?
Really? Really? You were going down this route? And now what?
Do you have Prince Albert in a can?
You know what? Tim, I think you owe me this one. So, you know, do your thing. Go, go.
Oh, this is the best thing ever. Oh, that was great.
Welcome back to the Chuckles and Laughs Show, special paranormal filming. And we've had all sorts of walks of life come on this show today. All sorts. And it's been very exciting. Even being a dead guy myself, I found some of these characters rather interesting, like Cthulhu. I also find this rather interesting. Carl, if you wouldn't mind introducing your group.
Yes, well, I'm just glad you had me on for a segment before these ladies came on, because nobody's going to be looking at me now. We have the members of the Big Rhodey Research Project. They'll explain why it's called Big Rhodey. We have the very lovely Dina Palestini, the founder of Big Rhodey Research Project. She's also the founder of Beyond the Veil Paranormal Research. And we have Miss Chris Stepney, also a member of Big Rhodey Research Project. Whose birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
What a laugh. And we have the equally lovely Miss Aries Clack. Aries
Clake.
Aries Clake. Miss I've seen it in print. I haven't asked her yet. I'll just call you Aries. Miss Aries Clake, and she is the newest member of the Big Rhodey Research Project.
Don't make her mad. She's got that name Aries. The last time I checked, someone with that name Aries is bad if you make her mad. Very bad.
She lives up to her name.
So now you know there is glamour in Bigfoot research.
Now, I'm a big fan of Bigfoot. I'm a big fan of the research. However, you have actually seen a Bigfoot.
Yes, when I was about 16 in Cumberland.
Really? Did you see this Bigfoot back here? Where are you? Come on, Tim. Is that the Bigfoot you
I've been
saw?
looking for you. Come here.
Come on out, Tim.
No
Come
more
on out.
blurry pictures.
Yeah, he's coming. He'll come back out. By the way, he doesn't like being called Bigfoot. His real name is Tim.
Or Timothy.
And he's got a bone to pick with you guys, I guess.
I see.
I'll give him this mic. I guess he's got a bone with you on him.
Does he smell familiar to you, Dina?
He smells very familiar. I think he needs to change that diaper.
You know, where's the privacy anymore? I'm just out doing my thing, and you guys are out there with video feed going and lights and the horses. I mean, come on, just let me do my own thing. Let me live.
Well, we think you're sexy, so we want to get you on film.
Maybe your humans aren't as dumb as I thought you were.
Now, Tim, I hear that you send them a pool party invitation, and they never responded back.
I sent it out, you know, that, couple of email responses back, you know, they didn't even get back to me. I mean, what gives? I'm just trying to throw out the invitation. Nobody takes up on it.
I'm sorry, we had a few invites that week, and we could not make every one of them.
That
There was a better looking Sasquatch that week, and I was all over that one.
That was actually POD, but anyway.
Yeah.
How did POD get a Sasquatch outfit? Well,
I had a lady.
No, you didn't. That's why it's called
That's
story.
right in.
No, you know, I've seen a lot of this footage out there with the Bigfoot, and
Let me guess, I'm doing this.
yeah, that right there. And I've only seen really one or two that can tell me that it actually looks like a Bigfoot. I saw yours, and the shadow did look indeed like a tall person swinging their arms. Either it was a Bigfoot or a really tall ghost. Either way, it was bad. But you caught it, which is cool. So, tell me more about seeing this thing, because now you've caught my interest, seeing the Bigfoot.
Dina's eyewitness experience.
Well, not this Bigfoot, but when I was about 16, I did see Bigfoot in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and actually, I just found out recently, when I first came out of the Bigfoot closet, that other people have actually seen this Bigfoot in the same area. It was about dusk on a summer night, around dusk, and we were cruising in a convertible, and everybody liked this road because it was haunted. And we'd all go down there to see if we could see some ghosts. So we decided to pull over in this convertible on the side of the road and just hang out. Now, I was with 3 guys. I was always a tomboy, always do the tomboy stuff, running around in the woods. And we were just hanging out and laughing, and all of a sudden I could feel something looking at you. You know, when someone's staring at you, you just know someone's looking at you. And then I could smell something really nasty. Like, I'm smelling it right now. And we all turned and looked and saw this huge 7.5-foot creature just standing there staring at us. And I screamed, we all screamed so loud, like a bunch of schoolgirls trying to get out of there. I'm trying to get underneath the seat of the car. And if anybody knows, you cannot crawl under the seat of a car. You just can't do it.
Let me get some straight.
Unless you're a ferret.
Us clowns can fit in small areas, especially under the seat of the car. Have you ever gone to the bottom of Bailey and see how many clowns come out of that car?
Even big ones, right, Chuckles?
We didn't have that kind of car that day.
What kind of car did you have, Dina?
It was a convertible. I believe it was a Camaro, an older Camaro convertible.
With the top down.
With the top down, which made it even scarier
this
than Chuckles.
Whoa!
A few things are.
So maybe Bigfoot wanted to go for a spin with you in a Camaro.
Or he liked my Aquanet because it was in the 80s.
Good man. 80s.
So this creature could have played whack-a-mole with you.
Could have played whack-a-mole with all of us and didn't even budge. We didn't hear him coming, and we didn't even look to see if he was gone because we hauled butt out of there. We were gone.
Why not a bear? How do you know this wasn't a bear?
I know what a bear looks like. I've seen bear in the wild.
I even know what a bear looks like.
Silent Josh.
Why not something like this? Why wasn't it a man in a costume?
Are you kidding me?
That's not a man in a costume. That's very insulting.
I would have started laughing if I saw that. I was crying when I saw the other thing.
That's disgraceful.
I thought this was going to be a serious program.
Well, you're on the wrong show.
You serious? No, really no. I didn't push the fart button yet, so it's serious. When I push the fart button, it's no longer serious.
You don't recover from that one.
Okay, shh.
Listen to this. This is the tape I found downstairs.
Shut it off.
Caught.